Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hyperion-Blue-GT is here. It's time to get ready for round 4 in the second season of the 2021 series Manufacturer Series on Gran Turismo Sport. Here we are in the Infield 8 track of Blue Moon Bay Speedway for 28 laps. By using the Group 3 category, we'll be ready to go without the mandatory requirement will be suitable to be on the medium racing compound tires. As to inform you guys, round 3 is officially to be postponed, but my YouTube channel will be having a substitute will be part of it. But I know taking one time for having a delay by having a vacation off, so I'll be willing to get back in action. This one might take a good proper strategy for only a specific layouts on every corners on the track. Sector 1 will be taking on in Turn 1 and Turn 2 will be coming over to be in the infield to be in Sector 2. Sector 3 will be going over to have the last corner section to be on the Speedway section to be having a full straightaway to be proceed on to the next lap. So let's grab our Group 3 race car and get ready to do a lot of practice to join in session to be in the lobby. And make sure the balance of performance regulations will be setting up automatically to be on the power and weight. Before you enjoy watching the video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out some more videos if you like. Feel free to enjoy it anytime you want for the entertainment. Now it's time to get ready to start the race, and let's begin. Round 4 in the second season of the 2021 series Manufacturer Series is about to begin. 28 laps in Blue Moon Bay Speedway in Infield 8 will be ready to go. Here is Nakui in first place in the Ferrari 458 Italia. Worth Prius in second place in the Chevy Corvette C7 Group 3. And here's Pacosta Skywalker in third place by using the same Corvette C7 Group 3 in a different livery. Livin Green in fourth place in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3, and there's position number 5, Rupp Cutter RSR. Lugo 240 takes position number 6 in the Ford Mustang Group 3, and we have Stu UJ in 7th place in the Porsche 911 RSR from Canada. NB Gibson 304 in 8th place will be at the ready for the Subaru WRX Group 3, and here's Neutron 19 in 9th place in the Porsche 911 RSR. And we have Marco Di Marti in 10th place for the 10-second car livery variant of the Toyota GR Supra Racing Concept. Ultimate Black Tack in 11th place will be ready to start. And here's myself in 12th place for the UZRS Import Tech of the Chevy Corvette C7 Group 3. MRT_Grip F1 in 13th place from Mexico is now joining in session. Arceus Mega in 14th place in the Mercedes AMG GT3 2016. The Drunk Ninja 77 arrives in 15th place in the Subaru WRX Group 3. And here's Palomino in 16th place. Sebast 2121 in 17th place for the Green GR Supra Racing Concept. Badass Clan in 18th place in the Ford GT LM Spec 2 test car. And for the last driver is going to be Flint Skinny in the Dodge Viper SRT GT3R in the 19th place. Last place is Wake Skaters in the Mercedes AMG GT3 will be starting out to do the last. So quick prep for using the field map will be going over to take the rolling starts. So make sure this one might take a good survival of the fitness will be doing much longer by having an endurance. I hope this race is going to get much fantastic out there to have a good ways to go on. Clean race, taking a lot of going over for only 3 seconds, and here we go, folks. Round 4 of the second season in the 2021 series Manufacturer Series is going underway. Looks like Naui Inyard is now takes the front to going in onto turn 1, and everybody is going faster to take the formation by the braking points. But heads up, looks like this one might take a struggle challenge. That one might have to take turn 2. Will be coming in the infield section at sector 2. Take your time and take exercise caution. And oh man, looks like there it goes folks. Looks like a yellow flag just barely called in, and it's going to be a Porsche 911 RSR by taking a spin out. I bet it's going to be Rupp Kuderick is doing the problem by having a little bit situation out there. We have to make sure we have to keep going for having one good race by having a good perfection. I mean, the hitting is going to be taking a contact to be in the first hairpin. So that means for Marco Di Marti in the 10-second car livery of the Toyota GR Supra is now coming in, and UDRS Insportec is going to be taking on for having a hard defense to be going in onto Sector 3 by taking the exit turn at the left. The Drunken Ninja 77 in the Subaru WRX Group 3 is now coming in to take the final turn to be at the full straightaway at the end of the first lap. Looks like Nahui Indy Art is now take the fastest lap for only a minute and 14.231 seconds. And here comes the Brazilian racer Pacosta Skywalker in second place is now coming in to take action after turn 1. That one might have to take turn 2 to be dived in without taking it spun out by having be remember folks, the yellow flag is going to be the only caution that we have to be called out for having a no passing zone for only one vehicle to be taking the attempt recovery. Now goes on to Sector 2 for UDRS Insportec for taking the chase. The fuel is going to be on the progress. We'll have to keep much longer for having a start for only 99% since 1% is going to be decreased at the starting grid for having a rolling start. Gonna have to get closer for the Drunken Ninja 77 is now going to be getting closed in to be at Sector 3 to be at the exit turn. Hit the brakes. Now go straight up onto the apex without having a penalty. So be remembered folks, if anything goes on when enter Sector 3 to be at the exit turn, just try to step in onto the apex without getting compromised by the penalty to be in the next lap to be proceed onto the penalty line to be forced to slow down. On to lap number 3, and looks like Worst Prius is now take the fastest lap, and wait, looks like Rupp Kuderick is now storming in to take the lap time for only 1 minute and 8.814 seconds. He is going faster out there folks. Rupp Kuderick is now take the faster lap for only a bottom position whenever he's at. This is incredible to see how Rupp Kuderick can do it. He is going in to take the catch up along with the tough opponents to be in the middle section towards the near bottom efforts. Now taking the opportunity for UDRS Insportec to be closed in onto Drunk Ninja Subaru WRX Group 3. Take hairpin number 2 is going to get much challenging to be proceed at the end of Sector 2 to be going on to the exit turn. That should probably have to do the trick. Just going to have to stay on the line, and that one might give a good ordinary replica of the Super GT 300 back in the Japan Grand Touring Car Championship and the Super GT season. Hopefully, this one might have a good headlight differences to between the light or the yellow. But maybe that one might have a yellow headlight that one might give a good tradition. But it's very good livery for the Drunk Ninja 77 that might be very good to use to drive. So heads up, coming in onto turn 2, and that one might have Nugo 240 in the Ford Mustang Group 3 is slowing down in Sector 2, and that means for Subaru and Chevrolet in the UDRS Insportec of the Corvette C7 Group 3 has the opportunity to be coming in onto the first hairpin. But heads up, just gonna have to take a one caution braking point to be coming in to be closed in. That one might have Ford will be taking a tough defense to be in the hairpin number 2 to be at the small blind corner. That one might have Subaru will be having the most advantage, will have to catch up to take the exit turn to be at the left. Sparks fly after taking a few scratches after taking on in Sector 3. Proceed on to the final corner to be in the full straightaway. It looks like Works Prius just barely beat Rupp Kuderick's lap time for only a minute and 8.422 seconds. This looks like going faster for only one Canadian driver to be moving on in second place. One Brazilian racer has to step things up a notch before Works Prius has to be staying stronger to catch up on to Nahui Indy Art in first place. One Argentina Gran Turismo player has a moment of truth will be catching up to stay on in to be in first place to be over at the finish line. But heads up, looks like Nugo 240 takes a short recovery after turn 3. After turn 4 is going to be going on to have the curve straightaway. And oh man, looks like a contact just barely took a hit. UTRS and Sportec just tries to keep holding on while Palmilio is now moving on in 11th place. That was a close call by pulling the brake to avoid getting off the track. Now, looks like Dismal Mike goes on the hard aggressive because Dismal Mike goes for a hyper overdrive to be going increase onto the slipstream. But that's right folks, looks like taking the chase on Paulo Minio is now going to be staying on into the current position before moving on in lap number 6. On to the last minute, and oh man, looks like there it goes folks, looks like we have a 10th place driver just barely took a spun out in turn 1, and it's one of the Porsche 911 RSR just barely took a hit. Somebody has to call in for an instant replay. This looks very difficult and intense. Nobody would never want to do this kind of a mistake at once because it is scary and shocking for the spec to see this moment. That was so intense to see that Porsche 911 RSR just barely took a hit. Somebody has to avenge and moving on to stay on into the current position. So heads up, looks like this is going to be giving a little bit trouble timing out there. Neutron 19 is currently to be staying on over to catch up onto the rest of the drivers in Sector 3 to take the exit turn at the left. Moving on to the final corner, it looks like Nugo 240 is now going to be taking the penalty effect for only 0.5 seconds. Taking a side-by-side between Ford and Chevy is now moving on towards the 6th lap at the end. And here comes lap number 7. That one might take 2 cars. We'll be doing the first one. We'll be coming in at turn 1. Luckily for Subaru, WRX Group 3 is now currently to be moving on. Now, oh man, looks like that was going to be quite giving a little bit unexpected call out there for only one driver, and it's going to be Rupp Kuderick. I bet the handling is going to be having a little bit trouble timing, comes with troubling measures out there, folks. But I bet the maintenance has been, oh man, looks like there it goes. Looks like 2 cars just barely going off the track by having a collision. That one might have an instant replay by going under investigation. This looks very challenging to see this shocking moment out there. Somebody has to try to stay a good calming effort to have a good mobility balance. This is pretty difficult for the 4th round in the 2nd season because a lot of spectators barely saw that moment to see, but the recovery has to be still keeps going on whenever it comes in by having some dents around the chassis. Meanwhile, the first place driver, Nahui Indy Art, is now takes the fastest lap for only 1 minute and 8.342 seconds. Incredible, and moving on in lap number 8 for only 20 more remaining. Just to make sure you guys, survival of the fittest is the only challenging race for the Group 3 category to be in the second part. Since the absence from round 3 that I didn't participate, but luckily, as a reminder, the substitute for having a different drivers will be doing the most finest part for having a contemporary, will be doing a commentary to have some different moments to be in the Red Bull Ring for the first part of the Group 3 race. Now, looks like this one might have to take the focusing step out there for Porsche and Chevrolet in 7th and 8th place. UTRS in Sportec is currently in to 9th place to be staying on at the end of Sector 2 before moving on in Sector 3. Take the exit turn at the left and go straight up onto the final corner to be reached up at the end of lap number 8. Neutron 19 in the Porsche 911 RSR is now coming up to catch up onto Palmilio _ Molirio is now going to be taking on for the side-by-side. And here comes turn 1. The handling is going to get much stronger as it looks to be, folks. That one might have Porsche to be moving on in 7th place. Chevrolet takes 8th place to be dropped down after turn 1 before. Gonna have to make sure if the 7th and 8th place driver could probably have to stay on the correct balance. Otherwise, it's the handling that might give a little bit more troubling issues that will be called out all to the yellow flag. By the late breaking point, One Chevy Corvette is going on the outside by up the track, and that means for UDRS in Sportec to be moving on in position number 8 to be at the first and the second hairpin by the curb, and the blind corner to be in the small edge of the lane. Slowing down and keep a good calm steady to be keeping up. Moving on to the final corner to catch up onto Neutron 19 in the Porsche 911 RSR. 18 drivers remaining since the lobby just actually putting up onto the last point race entry. But still goes on for MB Gibson 304 is moving on in third place, followed by Living Green in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 in second place. Two American racers are now going in to catch up for only one Argentina Gran Turismo player for only first place to be in the lead. Hopefully, Nahui Indy Art could probably have to stay much longer for having an ongoing defense. On to the last minute, UDRS in Sportec is going on to the hot pursuit to catch up onto Neutron 19 in the Porsche 911 RSR by the ropes. And Palmilio_Molirio in the Chevy Corvette C7 Group 3 is coming in closer to UDRS 9 seconds onto the length of the gap. Hopefully, Sector 3 will be doing the exit corner strategy to be moving on to be at the final corner, will be giving a good slightly speed increase of the acceleration. Gonna have to stay on the line of sight because the increased gap for Neutron 19 in about 4 seconds up ahead. And here comes lap number 11. Just gonna have to keep on racing to stay clean. Just gonna have to survive. Dive down onto turn 1 and just gonna go right back onto the short straightaway to be in turn 2. Enter in onto the infield A. That will might give a good corrected line of direction. That will might give a good possible ways. We'll have to step in onto the apex. Pass through onto the penalty line and curve straight up onto the first hairpin before moving on to the short blind corner. Fantastic. So I hope every Gran Turismo players could probably have to learn this technique. That will might give a good slow and patient steady that we might have to keep things going to be able with. Looks like it's about to get a little bit close in for Palmilio_Molirio. Gonna have to keep things up for having a defense because the field map is still on in power lap number 2 to be in the maintained spots. Hopefully, moving on in lap number 12, we'll be going in to do the same. And here comes. Two Chevy Corvettes are now going in neck on neck onto the length of the lineup. Will be coming over to be at turn 2. And Sportec takes the hardest defense. Will be going on the inside at infield A in sector 2. One Mexican Gran Turismo player could probably have to come up because that one might take a one good push for only 0.6 seconds behind the gap for only a one good chance to be coming over to be at the hairpin. Slow down and take that inside to do the advantage. That's more like it. The increased range is going to get much further up ahead to catch up onto Neutron 19 in the Porsche 911 RSR. And meanwhile, for the top 3 drivers, and continue on in third place by the conclusion. Bacosta Skywalker from Brazil is now moving right back onto third place after dealing with the 4th place driver by the overtake. That one might take one good push to catch up onto MB Gibson 304 in second place, until Nahui Indy Art still takes the lead for only one good line of defense to be in the first place spot. Now goes on to lap number 13. 18 drivers are still yet remaining to be in the lobby. Hopefully, if only one driver was having a little bit more trouble timing on the handling, that makes 17 remaining. Just gonna have to keep an eye out for this video segment because this race is going to be much proud to become a one American race to be in the FIA Gran Turismo Blue Moon Bay Speedway at the infield A. Still tries to catch things up onto Neutron 19 in the Porsche 911 RSR after taking hairpin number 2 by the blind corner to be reached up in sector 3 by taking the exit strategy to be at the left. That one might give a good proud RSR racing for Team Porsche to be staying on in 7th place while Team Chevy in 8th place still takes the pursuit chase to catch up in about 5.8 seconds to go up ahead onto the distance. And here comes Rob Cutterick in 9th place to be catching up onto my current position until at the end of the 13th lap. Lap number 14 for UDRS Insportec will be proceed forward to be in turn 1 for having a good inside formation to catch up onto Neutron 19 for having an ongoing distance. Coming back onto the infield A section in sector 2. Take the right turn onto turn 5. Curve straight up onto the hairpin, and that might give the opportunity for Neutron 19 to catch up onto Marco DiMarti from Mexico. Looks like MB Gibson 304 still tries to stay on the defense to be in 2nd place, while Piscosta Skywalker from Brazil still tries to take the push. Hopefully that we might have one American racer could probably have to stay on over to be in the 2nd place spot. Gotta make sure that we might give a good position to stay in onto 32 minutes onto the total gap distance since the race began, and everybody, including the top 3 drivers, still tries to keep holding on for having a good struggle of the mobility balance onto the handling for every Group 3 car. And here comes Rob Cutterick in the Porsche 911 RSR, overtakes UDRS Insportec at turn 1. That one might give a good rivalry moment. We'll be doing an excellent moment to take the battle. So here goes. The battle for 8th place is now going underway. Rob Cutterick takes the first one to go faster by the offense to catch up, and here comes the breaking point at the first hairpin. That one might give a good slow position for UDRS Insportec. Will be dealing with a Porsche Red Bull livery. Now gonna have to take the sharp line corner to be in hairpin number 2. And go straight up onto the exit turn at the left in sector 3. Will be proceed onto the final corner, and that one might give the opportunity will be increase the acceleration. Now Rob Cutterick could probably have to go on to the different side after the final turn to be proceed onto the next lap in lap number 15. Goes on to lap number 16 is going to get much push out there for UDRS to catch up onto Rob Cutterick. And dive down, and looks like this is going to be very difficult. Looks like this is pretty sharp close call for Insportec to avoid taking a contact on Rob Cutterick. That's the ticket. Good brave courage, and looks like Rob Cutterick is now having a little bit call for a take back. Rob Cutterick could probably have to take position number 8 whenever he wants. That one might have an excellent good spot moment out there for Chevrolet, and Porsche will be doing a good excellent showdown. But the rage just goes on for Insportec, because that one might take the strategy will be push things up to have a good driving bond moment. So here goes. Rob Cutterick is now going in to take the final turn, while UDRS Insportec will be going over to take the slipstream to do the increased acceleration. So that one might give a good slightly strategy for taking the different lane onto the left side after the last lap. And here comes lap number 17, only 11 more to go, because the top 3 drivers, including several opponents, are still trying to keep things up onto the rightful position to be in the struggle. Hopefully that one might have the only better chances to see how Piscotta Skywalker is now moving on in 2nd place after he passes on onto MB Gibson, is dropped down onto 4th and 5th place by the determination. And here's Living Green in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 is moving on in 2nd place, but a little bit take back for Piscotta Skywalker is now coming right back onto the same spot. But urgent notice out there, because the Drunk Ninja overtakes by having a contact. That one might give an unexpected guess of a rival that we might have a further notice that we'll have to catch up onto Rob Cutterick. Now it's Subaru versus Chevrolet versus Porsche for having a battle for 8th place is now going underway by the update. Better keep an eye out, folks. Looks like several opponents are now going in for taking a push, and that means for the next car is going to be the same Corvette is going to be driven by the Mexican driver Palomino in 11th place. Dive down onto turn 1. Subaru takes the chase onto Team Porsche in 8th place, driven by Rob Cutterick before going back onto turn 2. And hit the brakes and do that apex to be going on over to be in Infield A onto Sector 2. Brilliant. That's what the spectators really wants to see it. The Drunk Ninja 77 is now closing in onto Rob Cutterick's position in 8th place. Take the second hairpin onto the blind corner, and that one might give a good opportunity to see how Subaru can do it. And here comes Sector 3 once again. Take the exit onto the left turn before moving on to the final corner. But that one might give a good slightly focus to have that boxer spirit to keep things up, or having a good front rear engine layout that will have to keep going faster onto the acceleration. Come on, Rob Cutterick, defend your rightful position in lap number 19. And Subaru takes 8th place, but it's not over yet. Rob Cutterick still takes the push to catch up onto Drunk Ninja 77 in the Subaru WRX Group 3. Now comes in onto turn 2, but man, this is going to be quite so incredible for having a most brilliant, intense battle. Subaru versus Porsche. The battle for 8th place is now going to be the only spot to have a good moment to be in the segment. But heads up, looks like this one might force a crowd. Palmilio in the Chevy Corvette C7 Group 3 is now joining the party. So that means that one might give a good main rivalry for Insportec will be taking on for the same Corvettes. Gonna have to keep on going because that will might take the next lap will be perceived forward to be in the nearly edge effort. That's the ticket for Rob Cutterick in the Porsche 911 RSR. The Drunk Ninja 77 is still going on for the chase. I hope Porsche could probably have to keep things on for having a line of defense before coming back onto turn 1. And here comes the dive in. Hold it and keep a good pressure because the gap distance is going to be taking on for having a real struggle. Now for Palmilio is now moving on in 10th place after UDRS Insportec to be dropped down onto 11th place. Still tries to keep things up in Sector 2 by having a struggle because 2 cars for only 2 types of group is going to be taking on for having a difficult struggle to see it. Well, I bet Palmilio is turning on the hazard lights to be at the right turn. That one might have to be turned off to be in case for having a serious recovery by the mistake. Well, he's still fine. One Mexican Gran Turismo player could probably have to do whatever it wants. Now this is going to get much brilliant to see it, folks. Subaru and Porsche is now continuous on for the battle for 8th place. Is going to be moving on in lap number 21. Only 7 more to go. The Drunk Ninja 77 in the Subaru WRX Group 3 is still tries to take the push onto the offense, while Porsche, driven by Rob Cutterick, still takes the line of defense by doing its stand. Driving perks is going to be the only skill ways to see how it performs. Thankfully, the rarity of its own kind of a performance that we might take a good endorsement to every spectators around in the competition. Now for the opportunity for UDRS Insportec will have to still tries to keep going closer to catch up onto Palmilio in 10th place, driven by the same Corvette in a yellow steam style. Rob Cutterick still tries to keep pushing in to stay in 8th place, while the Drunk Ninja 77 takes the hot pursuit by doing the same ongoing chase. And here comes lap number 22 for only the top 3 drivers. Living Green in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 is currently on to 3rd place, while Piscosa Skywalker is staying on in 2nd place, while Nahui Indy Arc from Argentina is still tries to take on a rifle defense to be in 1st place until towards the final lap to be at the finish line at the podium. But hold on, looks like this is going to be having a little bit late braking situation. That one might have the rightful spot to be coming back onto 10th place for UDRS in Sportec. Now, next up is going to be Porsche and Subaru, driven by the Drunk Ninja 77 and Rep Cuderick. We'll be continuing on for having a conclusion for the battle for 8th place. So I could probably have to go and make a good voting support for Rep Cuderick to see how he can do it. That one might take a good struggle defense to staying in onto the same position, while the Drunk Ninja 77 in the Subaru WRX Group 3 still tries to take an increased acceleration between the differences of the drivetrain layout in the FR or the MR. But now it goes in for having a near side-by-side, dive back down onto turn 1. Subaru takes a little bit push onto the offense to catch up onto Rep Cuderick's leading defense. And there goes turn 2. Porsche could probably have to stay on over for having an 8th place spot, and Subaru has to be staying down onto 9th place to be in the same effort, while UDRS in Sportec will be continuing on by having a push in about 2.5 seconds onto the gap distance. Now goes in onto the hairpin, take a good inside position towards the second one to be at the blind corner spot. That should do it. Looks like that one might take a good defense to see how it goes. Porsche is still staying on the line, while Subaru takes a little bit hard push on the offense after coming out onto the exit turn at the left. Moving on in sector 3, and looks like that one might give the spectators to see how Rep Cuderick could probably have to stay on going, while the Drunk Ninja 77 is still never gives up. And here comes lap number 24, only 4 more to go. That should be quite doing a good excellent moment out there to be in the highlights, folks. But wait, looks like things might have to go dived in onto turn 1. Keep a little bit more push away for Rep Cuderick. And then goes back onto the Infield A section to be in sector 2. Wait for it. Now just gonna have to see the hairpin. They are still going at it, folks. Subaru and Porsche is now going in to do the same for the battle for having the best moment to see it. The spectators really want to see Rep Cuderick could probably have to stay out there for having the 8th place position at the spot. But I still got this one, folks. Looks like these two drivers are still going faster by the books. That will be quite giving a good, successful, remarkable race. Now on to lap number 25, 3 more to go, and looks like this is going to get nearly closer out there for the Drunk Ninja 77. Dived back down onto turn 1 and reached up onto turn 2 by having a short straightaway. This is going to be quite going great, and looks like the Drunk Ninja 77 and the Subaru is going right back onto the 8th place spot. That is so close so far to see it for Rep Cuderick in the Porsche 911 RSR. That is so close to see this one, folks. But I cannot believe it. Subaru overtakes Porsche in 8th place, will be proceed to move forward. Now this one might give a perfect moment to shine. Rep Cuderick could probably have to keep things up for the next opponent we'll be facing up against. And it's UDRS in Sportec in the Chevy Corvette C7 Group 3 is now coming out onto the exit corner at the left. We'll be moving on to the last turn. And it's about to be going increased acceleration. Take your time and keep a good eyes on the fuel until it's about to be reached down onto 0%. 2 more laps to go. And everything is about to be going harder as it looks for every drivers out there, because it's going to get a little bit risky to be dived down. And hold on, looks like it's Nugo 240 in the Ford Mustang is now coming in to be in the scene. That was so excellent to see this kind of a quick encounter moment. But I bet Nugo 240 is never going to give up, because he really wants to be in position number 8 to be overtaken with UDRS in Sportec so badly. But the struggle is very challenging for having a good moment of having a clean race. Gonna have to make sure to be respectfully for every opponent by having a good characteristics of the handling. It's about to be going on for having the second hairpin by the blind corner, And that means for Rep Cuderick in the Porsche 911 RSR could probably have to keep things up to stay on the line of defense for nearly towards 1 second up ahead onto the gap distance. And that means for Nugo 240 in the Ford Mustang Group 3 is still takes the chase to catch up with UDRS in Sportec. And here comes. Looks like that one might give the increased acceleration by having to overtake. Gonna have to get closer. And it's about to be going side by side, and it's about to be passed in. Nugo 240 avoided passing UDRS in Sportec to be collided. That one might have a good ways to be going right back onto the connection line. That one might have to dive in onto turn 2. There you go. Looks like Nugo 240 did the right thing to stay onto turn 2 before going down onto turn 3 and 4. That one might have to take one last final lap. We'll be going in for taking the final stand. Just gonna have to slow down and go on for the acceleration. 7% remaining on the fuel. Shall I make it? We'll have to find out. This is going to be very difficult by using the fuel map. We'll have to keep it much longer by having the most endurance race ever yet. And here comes for the final lap for the top 3 drivers. Nahui IndyArt is now going to be staying on in to be perceived to be over at the finish line for having the first place victory win. Piscosta Skywalker is still tries to keep going out there, while living in green in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 is still taking one last push for overtake. Piscosta Skywalker from Brazil is still tries to keep going on for having a length of the distance. Hopefully, one American racer could probably have to stay in onto the top 3 finish, and looks like there it goes, folks. One Argentina Gran Turismo has finally made it to the finish line, and it's Nahui IndyArt takes the win. Now that is so incredible for having one Argentina Gran Turismo for having a good first place win. That is incredible. Now that's competition for Nahui IndyArt. That is so brilliant to have a good competition race for only one Argentina. Oh man, looks like this is going to be having a contact outcome. This is not good. Looks like Nugo 240 takes the retaliation hit. That will might take the contact onto UDRS in Sportec. Well, looks like whenever it happens in hairpin number 2, just going to have to try to make an exact communication. But take no offense on Nugo 240. He could probably have to be very specifically careful next time, with all due respect. And now, that means for only 10th place for Sportec will be reached up onto the finish line, and there you go. That was mostly impressive to see how Nahui IndyArt in the Ferrari 458 Italia GT3 did a good successful victory win, along with Piscotta Skywalker in the Chevy Corvette C7 Group 3. But we did what we could, and having some clean race by the chance for only one consecutive progress will be start over at square one. Now let's just gonna have to go in and collect some earnings, and that will might give a daily workout complete by midnight. Great job out there, folks. Way to keep things up to stay endurance without enter the pits. And Nahui IndyArt in the Ferrari 458 Italia GT3 takes the first place by the win. Piscosta Skywalker in the Chevy Corvette C7 Group 3 did a good job in second place. And Living in Green in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 2015 did an average job to stay on for having an ongoing defense to represent the country of the United States of America. That one might give a good ways to have 2 drivers to be congratulations for having a good win. Well, I just made a received response from Nugo 240 about the contact at hairpin number 2. He accepted the apology to me, so I bet that one might give some accepted forgiveness for having a slight contact for hitting me around onto the rear. Well, I guess that's it for now. Round 4 is finished. It's going to be doing a good race to be part of the racing replay to be on the highlights. As we move on in round 5, we'll be scheduled for the next race. It's going to be at Dragon Trail Gardens Reverse for 18 laps. By using the Group 4 category, we'll be settled in by having 2 required tires in the mandatory. It's going to be challenging for the Group 4 race car to see who will be the best by having a different drivetrain layout. We'll be climbing up onto the top 3 position. So let's see some good motivation out there and do your best. Thank you for tuning in on my video, folks. I hope you enjoy. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, bell for notification uploads to be turned on, and the links are in the description down below if you really want to see more. You can check it out on Instagram, Deepin Art, GT Planet, and other social media platforms if you really want to follow me. And don't forget to support my main project, Vision Total Drama, the next chapter of the Total Drama fan art to support the community. I'll be seeing you guys next time in the 2021 series Manufacturer Series on Gran Turismo Sport, and I will see you later in the next video. Keep on racing, stay clean.